Hey friends, welcome to Yoga Off the Mat. I'm your host, Divya. Today's question is addressing a popular question that so many of you ask me every single day. How can I start a yoga practice if I'm brand new? I understand how overwhelming it can be. Truly. The Western wellness industry and its newest vice, social media, have set a precedent where many people automatically feel alienated and ostracized from the yoga community. It almost feels like this exclusive club where you have to know somebody just to get in. People are practically discouraged from starting a yoga practice because they feel like they don't meet some criteria that was defined for them. Whether that's not having a quote-unquote yoga body, natural flexibility, or even access to spaces where you can learn and practice. Let me go ahead and shatter this illusion for you. There are no prerequisites to practicing yoga. If you have a body, breath, and awareness, you can practice yoga. In today's short and sweet episode, I'll share some tactics that you can try to introduce yoga into your life slowly and sustainably. Remember, these ideas are just to establish routines and habits so that rather than feeling like it's yet another item on your to-do list, yoga is now integrated with the rest of your life. Without further ado, let's dive in. If you're new to yoga, start with these 5 simple steps to build your practice from scratch. First, get a copy of Light on Yoga by BKS Iyengar. This will teach you the basic frameworks of yoga firsthand without the external influence. This is an essential text to understanding the philosophical path and the applied principles of yoga. The art of introspection has truly been lost in our current times. People want to hand over the burden of learning to someone else, a teacher. You have to realize that yoga is a lifestyle and not a workout. Most yoga teachers have very limited and often surface level understanding of this lineage, and their training is quite limited. They won't have the frameworks to help you understand the deeper philosophical topics, which is arguably one of the most important parts of this whole practice. Also, teachers, when they speak to the philosophy, package it into bite-sized talks at the beginning or the end of a class, often riddling it with the weight of their own personal struggles. There's nothing wrong with adding relatable anecdotes to help your students really understand something, but it has to be done artfully, which takes a lot of time and experience. Reading this text for yourself ensures that your initial impressions of yoga are unpolluted and that your frameworks are solid. There are many other texts that are integral to yoga. Let me know in the comments of this episode if you're interested, and I will do a whole dedicated episode on that later. Second, practice silent, undistracted observation in a public place. This will build your muscle of self-awareness and concentration and help you to start laying the groundwork for your meditation practice down the line. Focus is the act, meditation is the state. People often conflate the two. There's a popular visual of a yogi deep in meditation, unaffected by climate, the world around them, etc., which can discourage newer practitioners from it because it seems so unattainable and unrelatable. But those yogis have dedicated their lives to this practice. You are new. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Focus is a discipline that requires first a gentle allowing of the world to exist as it is without trying to change it. Repeatedly disconnecting from your thoughts is hard work, and you will come up against it very quickly in this exercise. Your focus is a muscle that you train with constant awareness and calibrating that awareness. By not fighting your surroundings, you're conditioning your mind to be comfortable with stillness, which is an essential skill in yoga. Third, habit stack your breathwork practice. As soon as you wake up, add in a little bit of breathwork after that. I'm not even saying to stop or replace any existing habit, simply to add breathwork onto it. There is a common saying in the yoga world, where the breath goes, the awareness follows. And it's popular for a reason, because it's true. Pranayama is the practice of energetic control using the breath as a vice. It has many physiological and mental benefits, but for newbies, the best thing it can do is to help you build your awareness. Practice breathing in through the nostrils and observing the quality of your breath. Is it hot, warm, or cool? Is it gentle or intense? Is it deep or shallow? You get the idea. You can also pause at any point during the day, whether you're sitting down, in the middle of a meltdown, walking somewhere, and simply notice your breath. Just like the park exercise, honing in our awareness is a powerful act. Mindful breathing is also essential to so many different elements of yoga, including asana, which is movement, or pranayama, this breathwork practice, or even meditation. So it's going to come in handy. Fourth, keep the asana simple when you start. Most people, when they start practicing yoga, hyper-focus on asana because it can be rather addicting when you start to observe your body getting stronger. That, coupled with the often competitive nature of Western group fitness, can push people to quickly breeze past the basics you learn from the foundational asana and catapult headfirst into more complex postures like arm balances and inversions before they're really ready for it. This is how people injure themselves early on and then not return to yoga for a long time. I can't tell you the number of people who've been practicing for years and years and years and ask me why their wrists always hurt when they practice. In yoga, it's very common to hear about wrist pain, and it's usually because people haven't learned or practiced something that's quite basic and foundational, the hand bind known as hasta bandha. It's a simple technique of engaging the muscles in your palm and thereby the larger muscles in your arm to help keep your body weight stable in postures like downward dog, which is seen as so basic, but it also applies in advanced postures like handstands. There's no prize at the end. Start by learning foundational postures and hold them for longer, practicing breathing in the posture and then using your breath to move from one to the next. Explore the basics of these movements, such as expanding versus contracting, lengthening versus holding, and so on. I always stress the importance of learning Surya Namaskar or sun salutations before you learn anything else. That is still 95% of what I do when I'm on my yoga mat. It's pretty much all you need. The rest is just extra. Fifth, and this one's the most important, don't rush to join a yoga studio, at least not at first. A lot of the time, not always, these spaces aren't necessarily conducive to learning for beginners. They create a competitive atmosphere in which most people put more focus on performance and gymnastics rather than the essence of yoga. You'll quickly encounter examples of cultural misappropriation, body image fads, hyper-focus on clothes and brands, and memberships, always being upsold something. And here's the craziest part. If you start to perform in a way that these studios can perceive as readiness, they will start pushing you to sign up for a yoga teacher training far before you might even be ready for it. The business of yoga is a beast, and I say that because I'm in the business, so I know. I want to protect you and shield you from the unnecessary influence of this world. I practiced for 15 years on my own before I ever felt like I was in a position where I wanted to guide others. I let my practice be for me and myself first and foremost, and you should too. There is so much beauty in being a student and a practitioner of yoga without the burden of being a guide and influencing how other people perceive it. Being able to be a teacher and a guide is also a gift, and if and when the time is right, you will naturally gravitate towards becoming a teacher. It won't be forced upon you. It has to come from you. This is why I say again and again, keep your practice private. And that's all 5 steps. Here's that list again, so if you have your journal handy, now's the time to take notes. If you're new to yoga, start with these 5 simple steps to establish a practice. First, read Light on Yoga by BKS Iyengar to learn the basic frameworks of yoga. Second, practice silent, undistracted observation in a public place to build your awareness. Third, habit stack your breathwork practice to start working with your breath. Fourth, keep the asana simple to start. Learn the basics. Fifth, don't rush to join a yoga studio. Keep your practice private for as long as you can. I hope this helps you feel a little bit more welcome in the world of yoga and helps you establish a practice that works for you. The goal is to build slowly so that the practice is sustainable. You really want to integrate yoga with every element of your life, not have it be something that you do for 5 minutes a day or 16 minutes a day and check off your to-do list. Remember, yoga is here to help you. Start small, do what you can, and keep the focus on you. If you enjoyed this episode and look forward to more, consider supporting my work by joining my Patreon, patreon.com/Divya Bala. Make sure you follow Yoga Off the Mat on your podcast platform of choice, on Instagram @Yoga Off the Mat Podcast, and on YouTube @Divya Bala. Thanks again for listening. It's time to get off your mat and do some yoga.